Brian Supra is back for filming. Richard Hammond and James May return to the Top Gear HQ. And finally, which would you rather drive? A Ford GT40 or a McLaren F1? All that and more on today's episode of Room News. I'm losing my voice. I need to stop doing that. Do you like RX-8s? Well, you'll probably like this one. On a recent episode of The Fast Life with the one and only Craig Lieberman, who I hope is on his road to recovery with his ALS, on his YouTube channel, he covers the rediscovery of Miele's blue and black two-tone Veilside, I believe, Mazda RX-8 from Tokyo Drift. I feel like this car is underrated, I'm not gonna lie. It actually looks really freaking cool. Brian Supra is back for filming. The just-driven replica of the orange Supra, which is a one-to-one historically accurate build, is making an appearance in Fast 11. As far as its role in the film goes, I don't really know, but I am excited. And also, just for bonus points, Just Driven is also building an accurate replica of the Too Fast, Too Furious Skyline, and I am super stoked about that. They need to partner up with HBS Fabworks to make it sound perfect. I know the real car in real life was twin-turboed, but to make that Too Fast, Too Furious sound, go to HBS. You gotta do it. Over the years, manufacturers have rolled a handful of cars off the production lines with paint colors that truly capture the imagination of the automotive enthusiast. There's Midnight Purple, Mr. Chrome, Midnight Purple 2. Why are the only colors I can think of just different versions of purple? Well, anyways, we have another version of purple. Well, anyways, Shmee has found, after I guess a long time, the Cerberus Pearl McLaren P1. This is a super stunning car. I mean, you guys know I love a good P1, but a P1 with a cool color? All for it. The only color from McLaren that I like more than this one is the Merlin Black that we saw on that McLaren Senna all those years ago. I don't even know where that car is anymore. Probably locked away in a vault. I don't know how how would you do a paint correction on that? I have no idea. But otherwise, hey, this car is nuts. I know a lot of people probably wouldn't like it as well, but I would definitely put the Lanzante HDK kit on this car. Not that it necessarily needs it. The aero on this car and the power this car has from factory is absolutely astounding. 900 horsepower, no turbo lag, ridiculously light for what it is as a hybrid supercar, and it looks absolutely timeless. Tell you what, I love me a good Ford GT, but a GT40? Come on, can you imagine driving a GT40 today? Well, that dude in blue got to do just that.
Out of all of them, Mustangs, Camaros, Barracudas, all that stuff, this was just always on a whole different level. I'm very excited. Huge thanks to Eric, who owns this car. He was kind enough to let me rip this around town real quick.
I'll let David do most of the explaining, but basically this isn't a kit car. This uses the original GT40 molds. The car gets built, certified, and by all tangible forms of measurement, metrics of measurement, is a proper, authentic Ford GT40 that will function just like the originals. You just won't have to be killed by loan sharks to get it.
And this was sold by Downforce Motorsports. They are a dealer of Superformance. It's not a kit car. What it is they take the original moldings and the original metal and all that stuff. Shelby approves it, and then they build these cars. So they are to the spec of the original ones.
Here's my question. Would you want the original engine in this? I mean, probably, actually. Or would you want something more modern and more powerful? Like a modern Ford GT V8, or perhaps a supercharged Coyote, maybe? Or what about the 750 horsepower Predator engine? Or maybe the GT350 engine, like a Voodoo, like a flat plane crank V8. I mean, you guys are probably thinking, no, you fool, you blasphemer. So, on a previous episode of The Ice Age, we talked about a McLaren F1 LM replica. Well, Shmee got to drive the real thing. And man, this car is the endgame right here. There are only 2 cars on the planet that sit above the P1 for me, especially the P1 GTR, which is the pinnacle, like a slight shade more special, are cars like the Koenigsegg Agera R and RS and the McLaren F1 LM. The papaya orange paint, the race car exterior, the BMW S70/2 V12, the classic supercar headlights, the quad tail lights, hashtag bring back quad tail lights. It is such a perfect recipe. I can't remember where, but I think one time I saw a McLaren F1 with a sequential as well. And man, that'd be fun. Imagine taking that to a track. Awesome machine, and props to Shmee for keeping his cool driving a part of actual driving automotive history. Now, I don't think Shmee ever got on it too hard. He didn't want to abuse it, neither would I, but that obviously doesn't stop some people. Like this guy drifting in F40 on some snow and ice. Get ready for some seriously surreal nostalgia. Richard Hammond and James May have returned to the Top Gear HQ to walk around their old rooms where they wrote scripts, brainstormed, and got ready for the live segments. I'll tell you what, the building kind of reminds me of the buildings at my school in the UK that I think were supposed to be temporary, but ended up just staying. I remember some of the teachers being mad and fighting each other over parking spots because it took over some of the car park. Kind of weird to think that some of us grew up watching this show. Well, it's not weird. It's just, it's nostalgia is what I'm feeling. I was fortunate enough to actually be in the UK from 2010 to 2012. And I remember for one of my friend's birthdays, I got to go to a special live Top Gear kind of show in London that the trio did, where people were driving cars around on like a little stage, like an ice rink size kind of stage. They were telling jokes. People even did a few stunts. Someone like jumped over a supercar as it was speeding towards them. It was neat. I still have the BBC lanyard from it as well. By the way, is anyone excited for the Not Very Grand Tour?